Hello and welcome. This is going to be a quick run through of the latest patch for Clockwork Empires, just to kind of back up what was said in my previous video. By the looks of it, I'm actually thinking there'll probably be a Rev 31 now when Steam goes live, because again these are mostly patch fixes rather than anything else. Let's have a quick go through them. They've actually put them into different categories now. So under construction and buildings, fixed various bugs in the module renovation screen. Ghost modules will now be moved correctly. Modules will now be moved correctly from place to place. Doors created will now correctly punch holes in the walls. So fair enough. This is a big one. I mentioned it in my video. Players can no longer construct farms on top of farms, buildings on top of buildings, and farms on top of buildings. You could actually place a farm and then go over it again with another 3x3, or then on top of that a 5x5, another 2x2, and that would be 5 or 6 farms on top of each other, which would then effectively bug out. That's quite a nice one. Scroll bar now appears on module renovation screen. Yeah. These are the ones not so important. The done button when you're constructing buildings is now grayed out when you can't actually do it. So as you're actually placing stuff, until you actually finish doing that stage, it won't actually show you done, which is nice. Another one I mentioned, which was when you actually have an alert on the bottom right hand side of the screen, and you click on it, it will actually take you to the source of the alert, which is good. Like as I said, when you're under attack or someone's died or something has happened, you left click it and it's like, okay, brilliant. Now it actually takes you there, which is very useful. Sparkles will shoot up whenever a resource node is discovered from the fog of war. Fair play. Crops destroyed by fish people will clear up their squares with parent farm now. It was a little bit bugged before, which is great. And there has been a giant farming overhaul. What happened before, sorry, was that you opened up a plot for a farm, you chose what crop you wanted, say cabbage, because cabbage is the most popular one. You then just left it, and then when it was ready to be picked or harvested, people would come back and they would harvest it. Boom, simple. What happens now is there are a few cycles, I'm not sure how many, I'm assuming about 3 probably. You plant the crop, after a set bit of time you then have a set amount of time to tend to the crop, and if you do not tend to the crop, some of it I think will spoil rather than all of it, and if you do tend to it, it goes to the next stage, and I think there's a couple of times it's going to happen, and at the very end it will actually harvest it. And so the benefit of that is that there is more input for the I'm not sure if it's input for yourself or if it's input for the people who actually tend to it, but it goes through a cycle now, so there is more input, and it's not just plant it, leave it. You actually have to do stuff. But I think it is actually ourselves, because it did say earlier that from something else I read that if as you are doing it, if you do it earlier on, then you're obviously saving time. You know, you've got to say 5 minutes from our point of view. Then if you do it in the first few seconds, then you're saving time. If you do it like after the 4th minute, that's basically 4 minutes of wasted time, pretty much. The pumpkin plants have been upsized, huzzah! And cabbage sprouts have had their colour adjusted. Brilliant. Till soil has actually some SFX and PFX. Lovely. Fish people, yes, they've actually become more diverse. They have different colours, and there is an attack event as well. So the pop-up is just to alert us. The fish people are spawned regardless of whether they read the events. Lots of things make fish people angry, and if they're angry enough, they will attack you. The more anger, the more attackers. A good one here, I think, is that when a fish person is shot, it will stop them what they're doing, make them very angry, and attack land humans in a larger radius than before. So if you shoot them, they're going to rampage. So you don't really want to be shooting them really close to lots of other people, I guess. And one thing I didn't know is that harvesting caviar will cause more fish people attack events. I didn't realise that the caviar were actually anything to do with the fish people, so I've learnt that, which is good. And it does say fish people will spawn along the shores near the eggs, not anywhere, which is marvellous, because it was quite random. You're in the middle of like a forested area, and then fish people would be attacking you. Or why are they just wandering around randomly? Removed a few bad memories, effectively, just pointless ones, or extra parts to them. Poets will occasionally read the poetry, and if it's really good poetry, people will feel tranquil, which is good. It effectively buffs your people, but it is relatively rare to have someone who's actually good at poetry. So I'm wondering what happens when they actually read the poetry and it's dull, and they're like, oh my god, shut up. And yeah, maybe they'll go on a rampage. Feeling angry emote animation replacing the old one. The old one will eventually be put back in as a reaction to conversation. I did read something else somewhere, I'm not sure if it's in here has been missed out. Fixed drinking. Drinking booze will generally settle down strong emotions but cause tiredness, which is quite good. Interrupted drinking will no longer be semi-permanently attached whiskey bottles to people's backs. Drinks drop properly when drinker is interrupted. Characters is one. Characters should always have 3 traits. So I did notice sometimes people only had 2 traits, and I thought that was just the way it was meant to be, but no, everyone is supposed to have 3. And another one is that people will actually drop off corpses for burial. Sometimes I had bodies that were just laying around, other times I had people pick up bodies and then drop them off in a random place. The burial ground was just never ever used. It was quite strange, but that is now fixed. A huge number of jobs are now more or less desirable based on character traits. So they've added that into it, which I think is quite good. So I always thought it was quite random, but it seems like it'll be less random now, in that if you are someone who likes to explore, you will actually go explore. Because that's what I said in my very first game, was I had an officer, so one of my people with guns. I thought, great, he wants to explore, let's go and send him off exploration. But no, one of my standard people went off and they got killed by fish people. And yeah, it'd be nice that the people who actually like exploring do the exploring, because I'm sure they're actually probably better at it. Inspector machinery, something I've never done, has an animation, and some new memories have been added. For nature harvesting, the various nature harvesting cleanups have been performed. Clear sapling and clear stump are now 2 separate things. Clear object has now been changed to clear terrain. Job set via click and drag won't perform viral propagation. Random foraging dropped airship crates are scattered on a map, which is quite nice. That means that random airships are around and you can pick them up, and there will be things for you to forage from them. Hopefully it won't just be forageable items, for instance berries and stuff. Hopefully it just means you forage the crates and they actually give you other items like planks of wood, which would make more sense, because an airship crate full of berries would probably just create jam when it lands, really, splattering everywhere. There we go. Stockpile edge pieces now in place. Lovely. Add a small wander to end a stockpile return job, so people wouldn't stockpile themselves in neat rows. Good, because I did find they got stuck quite often. Workshop jobs no longer reorder themselves in the menu. Again, another one I picked up as what I thought was a bug, because as I thought what was happening in the back end was that if you had 3 jobs, it would basically cycle through them until it found what it could do, and you visually saw it cycling through. And I think that should have been done at the back end. That seems to be what's going to be changed now, is that they won't actually reorder themselves in the menu. Top of the crew are prioritised. Queue are prioritised, but if they cannot be done, the crew will attempt to perform the next subsequent job until they find one that can be completed, but we won't see that now, is how I'm reading that. So again, they've just removed it from the front end, which is good. And workshop jobs no longer temporarily appear and disappear from the jobs tab, not something I've seen. They will now only appear when the job can actually be performed. And added a cheaper, less effective stone oven to the kitchen. It's built with stone blocks. Standing desk module is optional for all workshops, which is great. Before it was mandatory, and I didn't really see why. And the issue is, a lot of people seem to stand there for a long time at the standing desk when there were orders queued up, and I was thinking, oh, why? I thought that I saw something else that said that all is up here. Yeah, I must have missed that. Required modules now actually required to designate construction of a building. I've had it a few times where you've said I want A, B and C to be built, they have to be built, you go ahead and build it, they build part A and part B, and then all of a sudden someone takes over that land and says, right, I'm now in this workshop, this is mine, and they then couldn't build anything because part C wasn't complete, which was strange. So that's now been fixed as well. And finally, saves. Set in progress. You can save now, you can also load it, and you can run it for a little while, but then it starts to crash. So every revision you get an extra one. Before it was nothing, then you could save, now you can load, and next time you actually be able to load it and play it as well, which is brilliant. So because of that just seems to be a stable game. It made it a bit more stable. They're not really introduced too much, they've given the extra bit of farming, but I really do feel like there will be some extra patch, slightly more content-y patch for Steam Early Access. I just don't feel like the game has got enough depth for a Steam Early Access, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's the patch notes for revision 30. I think they're quite good. I say lots of bug fixes, and every single time there is a release from them, they are full of bug fixes, which is brilliant. It means they are finding them and people are mentioning them and they are fixing them relatively quickly. So I think, props to them for that. But yeah, if you like the video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.